you're not falling for the wrong guys. They're just lying to you about what their personality is when you first meet them. They know what a good partner is supposed to be. They know, like, it's very obvious the things that they're supposed to be, so they just pretend to be that way to you. And a lot of time, the reason that guys like this will even do that is because they have a hard time having sex with girls. So they get you into a relationship so that they can have consistent sex with you.
Yeah.
You don't realize how hard it is to get a girl. You don't, because you've never gone out there and tried to do it. You would think that, you know, all the times that you've actually gotten with a guy, it just seemed like, oh, this just happened. How many guys have you turned down? Think of how many girls have turned down one specific guy.
Men are just not out here just bagging girls all the time.
Yeah.
And you see it on social media and people talk about it and it seems easy. But a lot of men are not going up to girls and picking them up. And a lot of men are not having success on dating apps. The amount of times that a woman gets swiped on dating apps is exponential, and she has this whole pot to pick from. And then now every guy is competing just strictly based on looks, right away, with the whole range of other dudes on dating apps. And if their looks aren't their strong point, for example, it's going to be harder for them. It just is.
Yeah, and most guys aren't that gorgeous. There's way more beautiful women than there are men. That's just facts. I'm sorry. So they are getting into relationships majority of the time because they want that consistent intimacy, I guess we can call it, not because they are a hopeless romantic and they're so in love with this person. Like, yes, they have feelings for them, but a lot of times they're not being loyal. The amount of guys nowadays that are not loyal is insane. It's insane. And maybe it's just a lot of what's talked about. But I mean, this is a story as old as time. This has been going on forever. Men cheat. And that's the other thing, is that the way men talk to each other, it's not looked down on for them to be cheaters.
It's not looked down on at all. It's actually brought up in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they bring it up to brag to each other, like, oh, look at this girl that I got. Oh, my girl doesn't know, blah, blah, blah.
Even in professional settings.
Oh, especially in professional settings.
And it's almost a barrier breaking when men meet, you know, for drinks or whatever, business wise, and you're trying to appear, you know, your best because you're talking about business, and then someone brings up girls, someone brings up, you know, extracurricular activities, and then the floodgates open, and now you're just talking about how that's how they become friends. This one, or you know, showing pictures and so on. That's how they bond.
And that's another thing. It's the closest thing that they can come to showing emotional depth. Is their sexual desires.
Yeah, like one of our neighbors who kept inviting me and her to go to certain places in New York. And then one day he invites me to this place. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, we're going to go. I don't go anywhere without her. And it's just like, oh, well, don't bring your girl.
Yeah.
You know, don't
because there's girls there. Specifically, he said this to cheat. Now, mind you, this man lives in our building with his girlfriends who we could easily see at some point, but he's just assuming it's bro code, and that's what you do, because that's what these guys are doing for the most part. Not all of them. Not all of them.
But at the same time, you're keeping a girlfriend. You're keeping
that's
this
the
girl.
thing. They don't leave. Like, you saw the Twitter thread. You saw what's going on. They're not breaking up because they need it. They need that emotional support. They need someone to take care of them, and they need to know where their next meal is coming from, if you will.
Yeah. And so they lie about who they are, and they keep that part of themselves away from you.
They think it's normal.
They think it's normal. And it comes out in weird and disrespectful ways.
And then what happens is, if you catch them being disrespectful, if you catch them cheating, they apologize. They say, I'm sorry, it'll never happen again. They're not honest. They don't say, you know what? Yeah, I'm a cheater. This is what I need. They're not upfront. They're going to tell you that they've changed, and then you're going to stay with them because you're going to feel bad because they make you feel bad. You're not choosing them wrong. They are lying. They know how to do this. They're manipulative.
At the same time, there's the flip side of men that are looking at women and saying women only like the asshole guys. Oh, why'd you get with this guy? And there's your answer right there. Women aren't actively seeking toxic men. It just so happens that they're fooled, especially in the early dating phases when you're going through the honeymoon phase, and you want this to work so bad. That's another thing. You know, where you ignore all the
red flags.
You ignore all the little things, and you say, all right, it doesn't really matter, whatever. And then it all ends up blowing up.
Because they presented themselves to you in this way in the beginning, you have something to always come back to. You always feel like, well, if it could just go back to that way it was, then things will be all right. But it never was that way. It was always a lie.
Overall, I think men need to just be more honest. We tell all our guy friends all the time, don't get into a relationship, don't get into a situation that you are just doing because it's the next step, or you think this is what you need. They can't help themselves. And it's not right for you, and it's not right for the girl that you're putting in this awkward situation.
Yeah, they're always lying to the girl and making this girl think that they're in this fairy tale. You're not. The guy is a liar. And sometimes I want to say to the girls, like, get out while you can, but I'm not going to step on any toes for the most part.
Again, it's not most guys. I really don't think it's most guys that are out here acting like this.
I don't think most guys are good enough at manipulating, but it's usually the asshole guys that are good at manipulating.
Well, it's usually the asshole guys who have less of a care, who approach you, who come up to you and actually start to hit on you and do all these things. So of course, those people are just going to rise to the top because the nice guys don't approach. They will not say anything to you.
That's the big problem. Because I always selected guys based on, do you have the balls to come up to me? And it probably wasn't a good criteria. It probably wasn't a good strategy, because I tended to get the real asshole guys at the end of the day. Actually, you didn't approach me. You didn't approach me. You actually didn't talk to me. So
there you go.
I did good, guys. Now, it's not to say that you aren't actually going for guys with red flags unintentionally, but the thing is that when someone is acting distant to you, it makes you want them. That's just the nature of desire. We want what we can't have. So you have to realize that if someone is not being consistent with you and is not messaging you, you're gonna get a thrill when they finally do, because the more unexpected something is, the more excited you're gonna get about it. So if you find yourself very excited that this guy texted you after he hasn't texted you for hours, just realize it's just because it's unexpected. Take
a step back.
So you should be annoyed. You shouldn't be all excited that this guy is texting you. You should be like, hold up.
Why did it take so long?
Why did it take you so long? Now, granted, don't be upset with every guy that you're dating that isn't in a relationship with you about how long it takes them to text back.
But put it into perspective, because that's how you avoid getting into bad situations. Like you said in one of your videos, this guy is showing you who he is.
Yes.
And it's when you, especially in the dating phase, you don't have to call him out on it and get emotional about it. But if he's going to do that in the dating phase when it's supposed to be just nice, then what's going to happen when you guys start dating? So it's something to think about before committing, you know, what is it, months to years?
Do not, a guy like that that's not going to be consistent with you, have your options open. Do not just be like, well, this is the guy that gives me the most butterflies. It's the guy that's the most inconsistent. Don't not go for the nice guy because you have this guy being inconsistent with you. Don't just be like, this guy's constantly texting me, so I'm not really excited about it. That's the guy that's better for you.
You should look at consistency. I mean, that's something that you always said about me. I always did what I said.
Yes. If a guy is
always consistent.
If a guy is telling you things and not following through with it, that is the biggest red flag. They are saying what they need to say. They're never going to do it. It's not like something came up and, oh, he just said it and he does really want to do it. He's lying. He's specifically trying to manipulate you because they know they're getting your blueprint. They're figuring out who you are and what you want so that you can reciprocate what they want, which is you and sex with you.
And even if they're not so adept in manipulation that they actually understand what they're doing, subconsciously you're still communicating all these things to the guy. So if they're breaking plans with you and you're just like, let me just dismiss it, and you're happy the next time you see him, whatever, without saying anything, then it's like, okay, she clearly doesn't care about it, and I'm going to keep doing it, and this is the kind of girl that I could do that with. That's not the kind of guy that you want to be. You want to be with.
Absolutely not. No, a guy breaking plans, I'm sorry, once or twice, maybe, but that kind of inconsistency, absolutely not.
Definitely. But they do lie. They do lie, especially in the dating phase. They lie and do whatever they can to get you. And then just like, you know, time and time again, you see in relationships, they just let it all go. It gets either boring and it gets routine for them, and then you start losing interest, or they switch and turn into an asshole. That's the other thing. They'll turn into an asshole to get you to leave because they're never going to leave. They don't want to deal with that drama. They don't even want to have that conversation. They'll just cheat. Really look for these cues and think about the guys that you've dated in the past
And if they've done things like this, if they've kind of gaslit you into thinking that they were this certain person that they weren't actually in reality, and you'll see the same patterns because people always play the same games. But let me know what you guys think about that. Leave comments if you want us to talk more about it, or if there's any other questions or things that you have. I have like a list of probably 800 questions that I need to get to, but I'm always looking for more. So let us know. Love you guys.